John Cena's net worth sits at approximately $80 million as of 2025. A 26-year career from developmental nobody to the most decorated world champion in WWE history. And the money that came with it tells a story that is far more complex than any single number. So here's the breakdown of exactly how much John Cena made in WWE and how he made it. At Money in the Bank in July 2024, John Cena, who had been signed to WWE since 2001 and performing on its main roster since 2002, announced that he would retire from in-ring competition. At the end of 2025, the announcement sent the wrestling world into full reflection mode, because what that retirement represented was not just the end of a career, but the end of one of the most financially successful runs any performer in the history of WWE had ever put together. And it started almost impossibly at the very bottom. My contract was for $12,500 a year, and my rent was for $1,200 a month. I quit my job immediately to become a professional. That was John Cena, speaking in his own words about the moment his WWE journey began. Let that sit for a second. A man who would go on to be worth $80 million, the face of the biggest wrestling company on the planet, and one of the highest paid entertainers in Hollywood, started with a yearly salary that did not even cover 2 months of rent. He was not just underpaid, he was already operating at a loss. Yet he bet on himself and took the leap to pursue wrestling full-time, a risk that ultimately paid off. What is especially striking is the transparency with which Cena has always told this story. John Cena was seen in a podcast with Logan Paul in 2024, where he said, "My first contract was for $12,500 a year." He did not hide the struggle, he wore it. And that honesty has only made the arc of his financial story hit harder for fans who followed every step of it. After graduating from Springfield College in Massachusetts, with a degree in exercise physiology and body movement, Cena worked as a limo driver to pay his bills as he pursued a bodybuilding career. He then joined Ultimate Pro Wrestling in 1999 using the moniker The Prototype. He kept that persona going through 2002 when he signed a development deal with WWE and grappled in their Ohio Valley Wrestling division, making his official WWE debut in June 2002. In the early 2000s, before his memorable SmackDown debut against Kurt Angle, that birthed the Ruthless Aggression era, Cena was a no-name rookie struggling to make it, and his situation inside WWE was genuinely precarious. Cena almost got fired during his first year in Vince McMahon's company. The character had no depth, the future was unclear, and the pay reflected exactly that uncertainty. But Cena did not sit still. He pushed back against the creative direction, and famously, it was an impromptu rap audition for Stephanie McMahon backstage that kept him employed, and sparked the character that would take him to the top. Famously, it was a rap audition for Stephanie McMahon that got him one last shot. But at that time, many within the company doubted his potential, especially since his character lacked depth. But once the door cracked open, Cena pushed it all the way through, and with each step up, the contracts grew. His second contract was for like $25,000. Then they moved him to Kentucky, and it became $50,000. They moved him to TV, and it became $75,000. Then he ended up signing a better deal and a better deal. The progression was methodical. Every time WWE gave Cena a new platform, he delivered, and the numbers climbed from $12,500 in the developmental trenches to $75,000 when he hit TV. That alone was a six-fold increase, and it was just the beginning. The machine was starting to move, and once it did, it barely slowed down for 2 decades. By 2004, Cena had the US Championship. By WrestleMania 21 in 2005, he had the WWE Championship for the first time. The money followed every title. Each new championship reign brought renegotiated deals, bigger PPV bonuses, larger house show guarantees, and most importantly, a percentage of merchandise revenue that would become the real driver of his wealth. The salary ladder he described, $12,500 to $25,000 to $50,000 to $75,000, was just the foundation. What was built on top of it would dwarf everything underneath. Before all that, though, Cena definitely struggled through some salad days. He said that he once resorted to competing in pie-eating contests just because it meant a free meal. "I'm a Zeppi's pizza-eating champion. I was broke and didn't have any food, and they had a promotion," he previously explained. "If you ate a whole pizza, you'd get the pizza free. So I went in there on a lunch break and crushed a pizza in about 20 minutes, and the guy's face dropped." The same man who would later pull in $10 million a year from WWE once ate pizza competitions for dinner because he had no money for food. The distance between those 2 points is the story. To understand what John Cena actually made in WWE, you have to understand how WWE pays its top talent, because it is not as simple as a salary. WWE talent are classified as independent contractors, not employees. This distinction has significant implications. Wrestlers are responsible for their own travel, health insurance, and taxes. In exchange, they retain certain rights and receive flat guaranteed contracts, sometimes called downside guarantees, that represent the minimum they will earn in a given year, regardless of how many dates they work. That word minimum is the key, because for a star at John Cena's level, the base salary was only one layer of a much more elaborate financial structure. It's important to note that Cena's salary includes the base salary, pay-per-view bonus, and merchandise sales. 3 separate income streams, all operating simultaneously, all feeding into a total number that, at his peak, stretched into the tens of millions per year. The pay-per-view bonus system means that every WrestleMania, every SummerSlam, every Royal Rumble carries a financial weight beyond just what was guaranteed on the base contract. Main event performers at premium live events earn additional bonuses on top of their guarantee. And at Cena's level, headlining WrestleMania multiple times, those bonuses were not trivial. It was reported that he was paid $500,000 for each of his main event appearances, $500,000 per main event appearance, stacked on top of an already multi-million-dollar base. Every time Cena closed a WrestleMania, that was an 8-figure year on the calendar. But the merchandise piece is where the story gets genuinely remarkable. He also has a 5% share in merchandise revenue, which is huge considering the fact that he was named WWE's top merchandise seller several times. 5% might not sound like much until you realize the volume of product that moved under the Cena name. The spinner belt replicas, the "You Can't See Me" caps, the Hustle Loyalty Respect t-shirts, the wristbands thrown into the crowd at house shows across the world. Cena's merchandise line was an industry unto itself, and he was taking a cut of every unit sold. The sheer scale of WWE's merchandise operation, combined with Cena being its top-selling star for the better part of a decade, means the merchandise royalties alone likely generated millions annually on top of his base. When fans talk about Cena's earnings and look only at his salary figures, they are missing the most important piece of the puzzle: the 5% royalty stream running quietly in the background for years, from the smallest rubber wristband to the most expensive championship replica, was the compounding engine behind the fortune. His WWE salary excludes PPV appearances, merchandise sales, and brand endorsements. That sentence is critical. When a figure like $8.5 million or $10 million gets reported as Cena's WWE salary, what is being described is only the base guarantee. The full picture, once PPV bonuses and the merchandise 5% are stacked on top, pushes that number considerably higher in any given year. Roman Reigns is the top earner for the company with a $15 million paycheck every year. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins follow him at $10 million and $9 million per year respectively. Cena's legacy-era deals set the ceiling that the current roster's biggest stars now operates against. The architecture of the money that Cena helped build, the merch royalties, the PPV bonuses, the main event appearance fees, became the template for how WWE compensates its top stars in the modern era. Despite being primarily a Hollywood actor for several years, Cena retained a WWE contract. that provides a significant guaranteed sum for periodic appearances. His final farewell tour has been structured as a major event series, with enhanced financial terms reflecting the promotional value of his retirement from in-ring competition. Even as a part-timer, even in the final chapter, the money was structured to reflect his value, which meant the system that had made him rich continued to do exactly that, right up until the very last bell. The mid-2000s through the mid-2010s represent the years when the financial machinery around John Cena hit its highest gear. The titles, the merchandise, the PPV main events, the year-round schedule, the relentless house show circuit, all of it converged into one of the most lucrative sustained runs any performer in WWE history has ever assembled. According to Forbes, John Cena was the WWE's highest-paid superstar in 2016, raking in $9.5 million in a combination of his salary and merchandise sales. In 2017, he dropped down to second highest paid with $8 million, probably because his budding TV and film career took him away from the ring. Those Forbes numbers are instructive not just because of their size, but because of what they represent about the timing. By 2016 and 2017, Cena was already transitioning away from full-time competition. He was making films, doing press, spending less time on the road, and he was still the highest paid or second highest paid performer on the entire WWE roster. Imagine what those numbers looked like during the years when he was actually working a full schedule. John Cena earned a fortune in 2018 when he racked up a total of $10 million, as he dethroned Brock Lesnar as the highest-paid wrestler of all time in WWE. 2018 marked the statistical peak in terms of documented, publicly reported earnings from a single year, a clean $10 million. At that point, Cena was already firmly in part-time territory, appearing selectively at major events, rather than grinding through a 200-plus date house show schedule. The fact that he could earn $10 million on a reduced schedule speaks to something important. By that point, the value of the Cena name had become almost decoupled from the hours he physically put in. He was not being paid for dates worked. He was being paid for what his presence meant to the business. The 16-time world champion got a salary of $8.5 million in 2023, with $500,000 for every main event appearance and 5% merchandise sales from WWE. And then, heading into the retirement tour year, the number climbed again. As of March 2025, Cena has an annual salary of $12 million via Sports Illustrated. $12 million in 2025. His final year, his most expensive year as a performer, because WWE understood exactly what it was paying for. It was paying for the curtain call. It was paying for the nostalgia machine. It was paying for the final tour of a performer whose name alone could fill arenas and drive streaming numbers. During the Raw premiere on Netflix on January 6, 2025, Cena officially kicked off his retirement tour that would go through December and consist of 36 dates, which included appearances and matches. 36 dates, each one a financial event. Each main event appearance triggering that $500,000 bonus. The calendar of the retirement tour, mapped against the contract structure, means the 2025 earnings figure likely exceeded the base salary by a significant margin once all the performance clauses fired. Throughout the tour, Cena achieved some notable accolades to cap off his career. At Elimination Chamber in March, he turned heel for the first time since November 2003. By low-blowing Cody Rhodes and aligning with The Rock and Travis Scott. At WrestleMania 41 in April, he won the undisputed WWE Championship for a record 14th time, which also made him a record-setting 17-time world champion, as recognized by WWE. Became the 8th heel to win a WrestleMania main event. He held the title belt until SummerSlam, turning back to face for the first time since March 2025, right before the event. A 17th World Championship in his retirement year. The final run did not just generate money, it generated history. And history in WWE has always been a revenue-generating asset. Every landmark moment on the farewell tour was a merchandise spike, a viewership event, and a PPV bonus trigger. The financial architecture of the 2025 tour was probably the most sophisticated version of Cena Earns Money that WWE had ever constructed. The financial story of John Cena in WWE has never been entirely clean, beneath the record salaries and the merchandise dominance. There have been legal battles, structural tensions, and industry-wide debates about how fairly the money flows, debates that Cena's career has sat right at the center of. The most dramatic of these erupted right on the eve of his retirement. A new federal lawsuit was filed in New York against WWE, TKO, John Cena, and others, objecting to the use of a sample to create one of wrestling's most recognizable entrance themes, Cena's "The Time Is Now." The complaint was submitted to the court just over a week before Cena was scheduled to wrestle what was promoted as his retirement match. Filed in the Southern District of New York, the lawsuit claims that the horn-driven intro and outro used in Cena's theme music were copied from a 1974 cover recording arranged by Canadian bandleader, the late Pete Schofield. The complaint was submitted by Schofield's daughter, Kim Schofield, who says she now owns the copyrights to the record, and the music, she says, is an original arrangement. This was not a new dispute. Schofield alleges that in 2017, she reached a written settlement with WWE and received a one-time payment of $50,000. However, she now claims WWE withheld key information during negotiations to induce her to sign the agreement. The detail that was withheld? The usage of the horn arrangement in a national Toyota commercial. The settlement was agreed to 2 days before that commercial premiered. So the picture being painted in that lawsuit is this. WWE settled a music rights dispute for $50,000, while simultaneously knowing and not disclosing that the same arrangement was about to be used in a national advertising campaign that would generate exponentially more value than that settlement figure. According to the filing, Schofield alleges that WWE claimed the song had limited value and dismissed their request for writing credit as greedy and opportunistic. Kim Schofield is seeking to recover damages in excess of $150,000. The filing claims that the sports entertainment juggernaut violated the terms of their agreement by releasing the 2019 version of the theme song under a new name, which included a newly recorded imitation of the horn portion. The theme song lawsuit is a microcosm of a broader pattern that runs through Cena's entire financial relationship with WWE. The company owns enormous power over the intellectual property of its performers, their names, their music, their likenesses, and that power has historically been leveraged in ways that favor the corporate side of the ledger. Cena himself has spoken candidly about this. He publicly acknowledged that WWE still profits from his likeness being tied to his films and TV work, meaning that even as he built an independent Hollywood career, WWE had mechanisms in place to ensure it got a cut of that too. WWE talent are classified as independent contractors, not employees. This distinction has significant implications. Wrestlers are responsible for their own travel, health insurance, and taxes. That classification, independent contractor rather than employee, has been a persistent source of tension across the wrestling industry. It means that the people generating the billions in revenue that flow through WWE's business are legally treated as vendors rather than workers, with all the financial and legal vulnerability that implies. The irony of the theme song lawsuit is that it targeted one of the most iconic commercial assets in WWE's history, the horn fanfare that had played Cena to the ring since 2005 through 17 World Championships, across WrestleManias and house shows and national commercials, and asked a federal court to decide whether the person who created the musical core of that asset was ever fairly compensated for it. John Cena began using My Time Is Now in 2005, debuting the track as his entrance music shortly before winning the WWE Championship for the first time at WrestleMania 21. The song, performed by Cena himself, replaced his earlier basic Thugonomics theme and quickly became one of the most recognizable entrance tracks in modern wrestling. Cena has continued to use it throughout his main event run, his part-time returns, and his later career farewell tour, giving him nearly 2 decades with the same theme, a level of consistency matched by very few WWE stars. 2 decades with one piece of music, and a federal lawsuit arriving in the final week of his career to challenge who got paid for it. That is not a footnote to the financial story of John Cena in WWE. It is the financial story of WWE's entire relationship with the people who make its product. The event featured John Cena's final match in his 26-year professional wrestling career, and his opponent was determined by a 16-man single elimination tournament titled The Last Time Is Now Tournament, which was ultimately won by Gunther. December 13, 2025, Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. The venue was sold out. The world was watching, and for the last time in his career, those horns, the disputed, federally sued, 2-decade-old horns, played John Cena to the ring. Cena's final match ended with him tapping out to Gunther after a brutal, violent, touching, nearly 24-minute contest. The crowd was electric for the entirety of the match, cheering Cena on, hoping to will him to a victory that would have defied the history of the industry. The manner of defeat, a submission loss, was particularly symbolic, as Cena had only tapped out 4 times previously in his lengthy WWE career. The loss served to elevate Gunther, who had vowed to make the legend submit, granting him a decisive victory as Cena did the honors on his way out. Before the match, Gunther had made his intentions crystal clear. "He has been beaten before many times," Gunther said. "He had a long career. It's normal, but he hasn't been submitted in what, over 20 years? So I think that spices the whole thing up a little bit." And he delivered on that promise. The man who helped write the financial playbook for an entire generation of WWE's top earners walked out of his last match having tapped out by design to the next generation. After Gunther left the ring, Cena sat in the center of the ring, soaking it all in. Cena got to his knees, kissed the ring, and fans chanted, "Thank you, Cena." Cena turned toward the entrance ramp and was met by CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, a slew of legends, WWE executives, and eventually the whole locker room. Punk and Rhodes gave Cena their championship belts, and he gestured toward the crowd with them. Paul Triple H Levesque met Cena and pointed to a tribute video for Cena. After the video played, Cena left his shoes and armbands in the ring before walking up the ramp, taking a bow and giving a salute. And then the business continued, because the financial relationship between John Cena and WWE did not end in that ring. Cena confirmed that he has signed a 5-year WWE ambassador contract with the company. This means that he will be part of World Wrestling Entertainment until 2030. However, this deal has nothing to do with Cena's exploits in the ring. 5 more years of the Cena name working for WWE in a non-wrestling capacity. 5 more years of appearances, media, brand work, and presumably continued passive income from the merchandise royalties that have been running since 2005. The machine does not stop, it just changes gears. Now, the question this entire video set out to answer: how much did John Cena actually make in WWE? The honest answer is that WWE does not publish exact figures, and Cena has not released a career earnings statement. But here's what the documented evidence tells us. He started at $12,500 per year. According to Forbes, John Cena was the WWE's highest-paid superstar in 2016, raking in $9.5 million. In a combination of his salary and merchandise sales, Cena became the highest-paid wrestler of all time in 2018, when he got a salary of $10 million from WWE, as reported by Sports Illustrated. He got a salary of $8.5 million in 2023, with $500,000 for every main event appearance and 5% merchandise sales. And his base salary from WWE in 2025 was $12 million annually, per Sports Illustrated. This includes bonuses for special events and various other perks and incentives tied to his high-profile status. Across the full arc of his career, 26 years, from $12,500 developmental contracts to $12 million retirement tour-based salaries. Conservative estimates place Cena's WWE-specific earnings alone at well over $40 million. Add the merchandise royalties running for 2 decades, the PPV main event bonuses firing multiple times per year for the better part of 15 years, and the ambassador deal that continues to the end of the decade, and the true career total in WWE is likely north of $60 million before Hollywood is even entered into the equation. John Cena's current net worth is approximately $80 million according to Celebrity Net Worth. The unprecedented wealth is determined by his earnings from endorsements, his film career, and his WWE contract. In terms of net worth among current and former WWE stars, Cena is only surpassed by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The number at the top, $80 million, is not a WWE number. It is the total accumulated across wrestling, Hollywood, endorsements, and investment. But the foundation it is built on, the reason Hollywood called, the reason Gillette signed him, the reason the endorsement machine fired up, all of it traces back to what John Cena built inside a WWE ring over 26 years. From $12,500 and a rent check he could not cover to the most financially successful in-ring career in WWE history outside of The Rock. That is the number. And that is the story.